Truth is weak, no strength to fight, no tears to cry, even if I try.
We seem to operate as if we qualify for blessings, and that we disqualify for suffering. Y'all know that, right? It would seem that our faith is such that it has not fully equipped us for the fact that there will be some suffering. This is why I believe that the Lord impressed upon us the last few weeks to talk a little bit about what it means to suffer as a believer. Because trials and tribulations will come. And we have to know that. That's what 2 Timothy is talking about. Suffering. That's what Philippians is talking about. Suffering. But suffering for a purpose. Suffering for Christ's sake. Suffering for the gospel. Suffering for the fact that we are doing what it is that God would have us to do. And if we're doing it for Him, and we're maintaining our faith in Him, it's a whole lot different than just suffering just because. I'd rather be suffering because I'm following Jesus than to be suffering and not be following Him. Because at least I recognize that in Jesus, the suffering that He went through, He came out of His suffering. He knows the way out. So I might suffer some things. I might struggle with some things. But at the end of the day, I know that there's hope that I'm coming out of my suffering into something more. Why is it so easy for us to act like we just qualify for blessings as opposed to suffering at all?
Because we are so blessed.
Okay. Because we're blessed. Anything else?
Because they are not really taking into account the true suffering of Jesus. We kind of minimize it. They're not really reflecting on what He really did in terms of suffering.
Okay. Yes, sir.
And I don't think we've considered it to be necessary. That that's part of the way. That is the way. If we are to follow Christ, I mean, it's necessary. Suffering is necessary.
Okay. Suffering is necessary to get us to where it is that God would have us to be. Right? All right.
I think another part of it too is times in the culture in which we live. A lot of us get our sermons via TV now, and you never hear that part of the sermon. It's always name it and claim it. I can get mine now. It's all about that, but it's never taught that there is a cost to following.
Right.
And it's going to cost something to the point of pain.
Right. Would you want something that didn't cost anything? So let's think about it like this. Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday, right? And so, say it again. Yes, right. Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday. And if you're giving a gift to your mother, you don't just run in the store and just pick any old thing up, bag it, and then here you go. Happy Mother's Day. No, you take your time to pick what you think Mama might want. If you pick a card, you want to pick a card that's going to express the right sentiment, right? If you decide you're going to give her something, you want to make sure it's something that she's going to be able to use. it makes a difference in terms of the giver, the person who's receiving, right? So if it didn't cost you anything, could you really and truly appreciate it? So if it was just easy to just go out and to follow whatever it is that Jesus tells us to do, everybody would be doing it. And then there'd be no difference. Does that make sense? There is an aspect of suffering costing us to the point that it causes us to appreciate what it is that we have. This relationship should cost us something. Any relationship you get into costs you something. That's how you know it's an actual relationship. If the other person ain't giving, guess what? That's not quite your boo-boo. Okay? They ain't trying to talk when you need to talk. They're only worried about themselves. You need to question, is this an actual relationship or am I being used? Here's the other side of that. Some of us treat Jesus and our relationship with him in the same way. He gives and gives and gives, and we don't want to give nothing. We don't want to give no time. We don't want to give up our talents. And we definitely ain't giving up any treasures. Even though he gave everything he had for us, was humiliated for us. I mean, when I think about it, the truth is we should have been on the cross ourselves. That was our penalty. That should have been us being crucified like that. That should have been us people were spitting on and talking bad about. But he jumped in and took it for us. And we don't want to give anything back. What we're talking about today is this full sacrifice and recognizing that just like he gave, we are required to give in the same way. Let me read something to you from the book from 163. He says, contrast is symbol of the cross with our love for comfort. Most of us commit our time and our resources to make our lives as comfortable as possible. We are by nature comfort seekers, not cross bearers. We are the people of the lazy boy, the country club, the day spa, and the Snuggie. Have you seen the Snuggie advertised as a blanket with sleeves? At first I thought it was a ridiculous idea, but the more I saw the Snuggie, the more I wanted one. When my wife asked me what I wanted for Valentine's Day, I was surprised by the words that came out of my mouth. I said, I want a Snuggie. That's a phrase you never plan on saying as a grown man. I was excited about a blanket with sleeves. When it finally arrived, I put it on and thought, wait a second, I already have one of these. This is just a bathrobe that you put on backwards. Contrast the image of the Snuggie with the image of the cross. One represents ease and comfort. The other represents pain and sacrifice. It's no surprise that more than 20 million Snuggies have been sold. Here's what I want you to hear. Unfortunately, many churches have developed Snuggie theology, where they try and make sure everyone is as comfortable as possible. The Snuggie theology promises health and wealth to all who follow Jesus. Instead of promising you a cross to carry, they promise you a luxury car and a beautiful home. The message they may still be preached from the Bible in the church, but certain parts are left out. And if you look around, my guess is that you won't see any crosses in the building. This is the world in which we operate. And the responsibility of us as true disciples of Jesus Christ is to ensure that people understand and recognize what they're getting into when they make a decision to follow him. We're the ones that actually make it known to folks what it means to be a disciple. The only way they come to know is by the interactions they have with us. So what does this mean? It means that when we are interacting with folks and they ask us how we're doing, that there ought to be some times where we just kind of keep it real. That I'm not having a good day. Okay? I'm just not. But I'm still alive. Thank God I'm still here. No, we often pick on folks who have the sayings, you know, I'm blessed and highly favored. Because that's like a kind of catchphrase for believers sometimes. You ask them how they doing, and they want you to recognize how good God is. So they say, I'm blessed and highly favored, no matter the situation and circumstance, which is good. That's good to have that sort of mindset. But what does that do to someone who's not a disciple? Does it give them the false impression that everything is always nice and easy? Or does it give them an impression that does it really send a message that no matter what, this is the perspective? I think we have to be very careful in terms of how it is that we interact with others, because they don't know. Only thing they know is what they see from us. So, the author writes on 166 and 167, he says he's been around his share of dead people. Been in the room before the coroner comes, sat with families as their father and husband took their last breath, stood next to many open caskets as friends and family walked by to say goodbye. And he doesn't mean to be uncouth, but he's noticed something about dead people. People who are dead don't seem to care very much what other people think of them. They're not concerned with how nice their clothes are. Not concerned. They aren't caught up in how much money is in their account. They aren't thinking at all about getting the promotion. The point is that death is the ultimate surrender of yourself and all that you have. When you're dead, you're no longer concerned with your life. So, I asked the question on your sheet, what's the point? What is the author's point of providing an illustration like this? What's his point? What is he trying to get at?
When we die itself, we really don't have concern about anything, but that does not really enhance us. So we really don't have concerns about trivial stuff.
That's right.
In a sense. We're more concerned about following Christ.
Okay. So the number one priority when we say that we are taking up our cross daily is pleasing Him. Y'all remember the message from Sunday? What we talk about? Being outside but in reach. Right? And we talked about the fact that we always, as believers, are always kind of outside. See, Mark made me happy because he listened. See, most folks ask him on Wednesday what preach about it. I just took my bulletin out my Bible. Anyway, we talked about being outside in terms of the perspective that society holds for us. Okay? So we're not all the way accepted by society if we are aligning with the standards of Jesus Christ. But it's okay for us to be outside because we're still, although we're outside for humans, we're always inside with Him. We always have the possibility for Him to reach out and to touch us and to bless us and to lead us and to guide us and to place us where it is that He wants us to be. We're not concerned so much with trying to fit in because we recognize that we're like the square block trying to go in a round hole. We just don't fit. And we won't fit as long as our perspectives align with God's perspectives over the perspective of man. Okay? And so when the author is talking about dying and folks not being concerned, that's what he's really concerned about. He's really trying to impress upon us the importance of not really even caring about all of those things that will fade away anyway. Because our focus is on what is to come and not what is right now. The problem with this kind of prosperity doctrine that he relates to this snuggie theology is that the focus is so much on the right here and the right now as opposed to what is to come. This little stuff down here, all the stuff we could get, no matter how much money you got, pales in comparison.
Pastor Brown.
To heaven.
We got a problem.
What's the problem?
We live in America. And America says that you're supposed to have this dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
This American dream.
Right.
And that's what we're supposed to be striving for.
Right. And it's so embedded in our thought. Television, music, magazines, anything that you could ever look at. Everyone's kind of thought process is always on what can I get? Right, how comfortable can I be? What gets me, and hear me when I say this, I'm not saying that the Lord expects for us that he doesn't bless us, that he doesn't allow us to attain some things and to be able to afford to do some things that we want to do, even if we don't need to do them. But I don't believe that he created us so that our whole focus can be on getting more and more of what I want. He didn't create us for that. Because see, the thing is, if that is the pursuit, then the focus is in the wrong place. Because our pursuit is supposed to be for him, not for the attainment of things. And here's the other thing. If you're pursuing with your whole heart all of these things that are over here, and you get them, what happens when they go away? What happens when they go away? If you have worked so hard to get you a couple Benzes and this big old house, right? And then one day, what you had, you don't have anymore, and you can't afford the Benzes anymore, and you can't afford the house, and you have in some way tied the attainment of those things to your pursuit of Jesus Christ. When those things pass away, what do you think happens to your pursuit of Jesus Christ? That goes away too. Because the focus is off. We look at Jesus and God as some sort of genie or something. That when we walk down the aisle, that automatically means now we get us 3 rubs on the genie lamp. We're going to ask him for whatever we want, and he's going to give it to him because we have misinterpreted what Scripture means. The Lord is trying to get us to understand that it's not about all of that. His only concern is have you sold out. Now, if you sold out totally and completely to him, and you have chosen to die to yourself every day. Now, that's the other thing about this. That we're not talking about taking the cross up today and then tomorrow decide I'm going to leave the cross at home because I had a hard day carrying the cross yesterday. We're talking about taking this up every day and dying to our own selves and our own wants and our own desires in order to please him. What does that mean? That means that that as opposed to doing whatever we want to do, that we are listening intently to what it is that he wants us to do. And if he says, no, I don't want you to do that, then we're okay with that because we trust that he's in control. It's a decision that has to happen every day. I think I've told you all this before. about the choice, right? I've talked to you all about the choice that has to be made every day. For me, no, I may not have told y'all. Let me tell you again. If I told you, act like this is the first time you heard it. Okay? Now smile pretty, because CC got the camera. All right? So here's the thing. When I was getting married, does that sound familiar? No, it doesn't. So when I was getting married, I asked my dad, I said, Dad, how is it that that you have been able to maintain your marriage for so long, right? And how is it that you've been able to stay committed to Mom for all these years, right? And he says to me, well, it's a choice that has to be made every day. Every day that I wake up, I choose your mother. I choose your mother over anything else. No matter what happens in the day, I have chosen her. So she is my choice, and you stick with your choice, because that's where your commitment is. And it's the same thing in terms of our relationship with Jesus Christ. Is that every day we get up and we choose him over anything else that might sparkle real bright, over anything else that might draw our attention, anything else that could draw our focus. We say, no, no, no. I've already made my choice, and I know that I've already made the best choice there is. And so I'm going to follow him every day, because that's my choice. There is this commitment that that's what this entire study is all about. Not a fan. Becoming a completely committed follower of Jesus Christ. Now, that's the second time y'all heard that. Just act like that's the first time you heard it. All right.
Refuses to die. What touch will change my life? Take me to the King. I don't have much to bring. My heart